running the batteries charged so he can, or connected so he can charge his batteries. So make sure you're filling with this hot. Put plenty of tape on it. And there was some straps here and tie straps here, and we just unstrapped. Had the air line for the
clutch fan
here, and we just undid it, laid it over to the side.
Wow.
I'm not going to use it anymore. And then took this harness and laid it over to the side. And that's where we can access now our thermostat housing. So we'll start removing our thermostat housing now.
All right, let's get some tools and come back. All right, so we've got our little probe for our pyro gauge. And we've taken what? This line here. Where's that line at?
We just took this line loose from
that line there came off.
The thermostat.
The thermostat to the EGR cooler. I think that's the air bleeding line.
It's the air bleeding line.
It's for the air to bleed out of the
And it's really hard for them to find these little rubber hoses.
Oh, these little old rubber O-rings, yeah.
It don't call them out. It calls out the fitting in quick serve, but it don't call out the hose.
Yeah. And then we're going to take this little crossover tube to the manifold off. We had to heat that to get it loose. It was kind of stuck. We already heated it up, and now it's kind of cooled off again. And we loosened it, so it shouldn't be too bad. Yeah, there we go.
It's that PB blaster down there. I got one over here. Yeah, coming from everywhere.
So we're going to get that line off. And we took the coolant line, or the heater core line off. We got it zip tied over here for now. Okay.
This here, even though we heated it up, it's still tight.
Yeah.
You just have to be very patient. And
work it, yeah.
Back and two, it'll be hard. And just go a little bit further every time you go. And it'll eventually come loose.
All right, here's our thermostat. I figured I'd make a little bit of video on the thermostat. A lot of people ask me how to take that off. Probably someday I'll make a video on just replacing the thermostat with all the detail. Right now we just got a little sucker because there's a lot of coolant on the top of this thing. I think he's gonna He's gonna suck some of that coolant out first just to keep from making as big a mess. Gonna suck that thermostat housing dry. And get down in there real good. That way we don't get it all over everything. We had to use a little bit of penetrating oil on the exhaust, but we don't want to make a mess. All right. The thermostat's got 4 bolts holding it on. The thermostat housing, 1, 2, 3, 4. And if you just have to change your thermostat, you don't have to take all this. You do have to remove. You have to loosen your AC compressor, which means you'll have to remove the AC compressor belt, remove the 4 screws, and just push it forward a tiny bit to get to this 1 bolt. And normally, if you know your whole engine's assembled, but I figured I'd show it here with everything off so you can see it. So you push your AC compressor forward a tiny little bit, you get to the 1 bolt, and then you take the other 3, and the thermostat housing come out. He's already got it loose. Go ahead and take it off.
We got our little baggie here.
Yeah, we got our baggie for our bolts, so we can always keep up with what bolts go to what component. It's got a label on it. Thermostat.
Thermostat housing.
Cool. And then let's show that. That's the gasket back there. And then let's go ahead and bring it down here and put it on this. Let's just set it right here for now. Set it right here. We'll show it. Show the thermostat. That's the thermostat itself. Mine's quite old. It was replaced, I don't know, 400,000 miles ago, 500,000 miles ago maybe. And you can see it's got a little bit of brown in it. I used to run Evans waterless coolant, and then I flushed it out, and now I run red coolant. So it doesn't surprise me that it's a little bit. It doesn't really look like rust though. It just looks like it's anodized a little bit. It's not really rusted so much. Yeah, it's like a crud from that Evans coolant that I used to run. The whole system crudded up with that stuff. So my radiator did that, and it made the radiator go bad. That's my experience. I don't know if the stuff's any good or not. I can't tell you good or bad, but that's what it did to my truck. Anyways, let's get the thermostat gasket off of here. We'll put a new one on there. Now, because we're pulling the head off and the engine apart, we're going to have to take this whole assembly here off too before we try to pull the head, because this will be right in our way. to get that off, what do we got to do? First, we got to take the exhaust manifold. Yeah. And then we can take
these 2 bolts and then the one behind.
And then that piece comes off.
Yeah.
Okay. So
I mean, you could probably take your wrench and get it out, but it'd be really hard, and we're pulling the manifold off anyway.
Yeah.
So
let's get the exhaust manifold bolt off next.
All right.
Okay, recording. What are you doing now? You got the last bolt in the manifold?
Yeah, coming off with the manifold.
Okay.
This clamp here.
You got that clamp?
All the exhaust manifold bolts.
Okay.
Here's the last one.
And those are, let me see that. Those are really rusty. Yeah, we need to replace those. I mean, it's 900,000 miles of running up north and everything else. Look at the exhaust manifold. Let me grab the camera close in on that. Yeah, can you hold that up near the camera here? Look at all the rust on that thing. Right here. Oh yeah. Over here. Oh man, it's really, that's a lot of miles, man. All right, and the gaskets, any gaskets blown out or any, oh look, here, let me grab the camera. All right, looks like we had a good exhaust leak. I knew I had that exhaust leak. That manifold bolt was broken from a long time ago. You can see that. And what about the, show me what you look for to see if the cylinders are firing good when the manifold's off. I know you were talking about soot and like the dryness in each hole and all that, or wetness.
Yeah.
What do you usually look for?
A lot of times look for, like that, see that wetness on that? A lot of times that's a sign of a valve guide seal leaking.
A valve guide seal starting to leak on there?
See the wetness of it?
Oh wow, that's a worn out valve. I knew I had some worn exhaust valve guides, okay?
But all in all, man, this thing's really, there's another one there. See how it's running down the exhaust
That one's the
valve?
one that's running tall. That one right there is one of the ones that's running at .028 to the engine brake, and that's a sign of that's, you know, that when we measured that last time I did the overhead, that's why we're pulling the head. So that's kind of cool. We can see it here too.
But you see how white the exhaust are?
Yeah.
That's really, really clean.
Really clean exhaust.
Really clean exhaust.
Okay, so it's not all sooted up. It's
No.
not all bad. I mean, there's some darkness in there, but okay, that looks good. What about number 6?
Number 6.
Number 6 looks worn a little bit too.
Not as bad as number 5.
Okay.
All in all, it's got some mild. Oh, look at that one.
Yeah, that one's worn pretty good.
You see it?
Yeah. Yeah, that one's worn pretty good. You can see the side that the
Yeah.
stem's worn.
See, a good cylinder look like this one. See how dry it is? Can you see
That
that,
one?
up in there?
Oh yeah, yeah, it's nice and dry.
I don't know if you can see
Yeah,
it in the
you can see
camera
that.
or not, but it's dry.
And then I
It's
got a little
rust.
bit of wear, tiny little bit on that one. You see that one's just starting.
Oh yeah.
You see that up in there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then that one's worn pretty good.
So those are the signs if it was pulling a manifold.
Yeah.
You know, you look and you.
So
can
it's ready
see
for a new head.
Yeah.
I figured it was because those valve stems were sitting really high in their seats last time I ran the overhead, and that's why I started looking at, okay, it's time to start taking this thing apart. I'm glad we found that coolant leak. I mean, I didn't even know it was really leaking there. That's good that we found that. I mean, I knew I was getting a little pressure in the coolant tank once in a while, but it wasn't like severe or anything. I mean, you'd bleed it off and it would come back after a while, but not like enough to worry.
You know what, Rawze?
So, but now I know where that was coming from. It's probably wear. You think it might be a valve guide or anything that was causing the coolant? Or no, it's in the head somewhere.
Yeah, it's in the head somewhere.
So, what do you see?
I was going to look, say, being number 6 was the one that was leaking coolant.
Yeah,
But I don't really see
it
any
looks like it's
signs.
running good.
Yeah. Usually it'll be really wet in the hole from pumping coolant, but
Yeah,
your truck's really,
good shape.
I mean, you know.
It's
for
kind of
1 million
odd that we
miles-
did find that.
Yeah, for 1 million miles, it's not in bad shape at all.
Wow. But you can see that exhaust leak, I've known about it for a very long time. The manifold bolt broke a long time ago, even with the head there.
Yeah, and this wet is just where we had put penetrating oil.
Yeah,
All of them are really dry like this. We
And
just put-
that bolt broke early on in the engine's life, and I just said, screw it, I'm not going to fix it. I'm out here to make money.
The thing about it is that's still a complete gasket.
It never burned through,
It never
yeah.
burned through. Even though it bolt was broke, it never burned through.
Wow,
So
that's good. All right, so what's next? Get this thing off.
yeah, we'll take this thermostat. Here's that hidden bolt.
Oh, yeah, the hidden bolt.
You know, this thing here come around the pipe, back up, and this bolt was hidden. Again, you probably could have took a wrench, It had been tight. So it remove these two. This whole assembly come off.
All right, so let's do that next. All right, take that thing off of there, Chief. And that corner bolt? Yeah, you don't need the corner bolt? Okay. Don't get on the gasket or the cover, right? Okay. Cool.
There's the house, you turn around so they can see.
There's a gasket behind there too, right?
Yep. Along with some leaves. We'll charge no extra for the leaves.
Don't charge extra for the leaves? Where's the gasket?
This is right
That's
here.
the gasket right there. Okay, cool. Yeah, you can kind of get that. Yeah, that's all right.
I don't know if you want to show it.
So we'll replace that gasket too. So there's a possibility, there's a place where a gasket could leak on the head if you ever get a problem leaking under there, back in there behind the cover and you can't find it.
I get sold this gasket more times when I order a thermostat housing gasket for the
Really?
thermostat.
You get it sold by mistake?
Well, yeah, because that's actually thermostat housing.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And they'll sell it to the head. You have to tell them you want the one knot at the head.
Okay, so next is this little bracket here that holds the engine cover, the gear cover to the top of the head, the support bracket for the gear cover. So we got to get that next.